Okay, so this is our last unit. It's going to be chapter 10. Today I'm going to do 10.1, 10.2, and 10.3. And then the following week we'll do 10.4, 10.5, and then that'll be it. Last test. And this will be the last unit. It's really important for this unit that you have a good calculator. So if you don't have a good calculator, I would really make sure that I downloaded one. There's a lot of free calculators that you can download from the internet. I'm going to be using this one, and you can see the nice thing about this calculator is you can see what you punched in. So if you make a mistake, you can see what you punched in. You can also go back and edit something if you need to do that. So you don't have to type everything all over again. Really is going to make it a lot easier. Okay, so this is going to be on percents. The word percent comes from Latin, which means per 100. So if something is over 100, it's 15%. That's why a test is always a percentage, because it's out of 100. But if you weren't looking at a fraction that was out of 100, how would you change it to a percent? So what you do is you divide the numerator by the denominator to obtain the decimal, and then you multiply it by 100, which is a fact, just moving it 2 places to the right, and you add a percent sign. So for these fractions, so like this one already has it's over 100, so that simply would be 67%. So for this one, you would have to divide 11 by 20. So I'm going to bring up my calculator. I'm going to do 11 divided by 20. Now, if you multiply it by 100, you'll see it comes out to be 55, which means that this is equal to 55%. Okay? So now for the last one, same thing. I'm going to do 15 divided by 16. So now for this, I got 0.9375. Now you can multiply it by 100, but all you have to do is move it 2 places to the right. Be 93.75%. That's all you have to do to change from a fraction to get to percent. Okay, so let's just do a question. So according to the U.S. Department of Agriculture in 2014, there were 264 million pounds of cherries. Of these cherries, 182 million were produced in Michigan, 36 in Utah, 26 in Washington, and 20 in other states. So what percent are these numbers? So because they're both millions, you can drop all the decimals. So to do Michigan, they did 182 out of the 264. So you do 182 over 264. So on your calculator, you're going to do 182 divided by 264. You can multiply it by 100 if you want, or just move it 2 places. So it's 68.9%. So this would be 68.9%. Okay, so for Utah, that's 36. So you do 36 over 264. So I'm going to do 36 divided by 264 times it by 100, and I get 13.6%. So this would be 13.6%. And then for Washington, it would be 26 out of 264. So 26 divided by 264 times 100 gives me 9.8%. So this would be 9.8. And then the rest of the states would be 20. 264. So I'm going to do 20 divided by 264 times 100. And I got 7.6%, rounding it up to the nearest 10. So I have 7.6%. Okay, so that's to figure out percentage. If you were given a decimal and you want to change that decimal to a percent, you're going to multiply it by 100 and add a percent sign. So I'm looking at decimals to change those to percents. I'm going to multiply it by 100, which means I'm going to move it 2 places to the right. So that will be 14%. I'm going to move this 2 places, 89.3%, and I'm going to move that 2 places, 76.25. Okay, so you're going to move it 2 places to the right, which in essence is the same thing as multiplying it by 100. Okay? If you're going to change the percent to a decimal, you're going to remove the percent sign and divide by 100, which is like moving it 2 places to the left. So now I'm going to take this decimal that's here and I'm going to move it 2 places there. So as a decimal, it's going to be 0.35. You don't see the decimal, but you know it's back here. This one you see it, so if you move it 2 places to the left, it's 0.698. And for this one, the first thing I would do is change that to a decimal, which would be 0.5. Then when I move it 2 places to the left, I got to put zeros in there to hold the place. It would be 0.05. So that is just as if you divided it by 100. Moving it 2 places to the left is the same thing as dividing by 100. Okay, so there's a formula to find the percent change. If the amount in the latest period is greater than the previous period, it's going to be a positive, indicating an increase. If the latest period is smaller, it's going to come out to be a negative number, and it's going to indicate a decrease. So the formula is the percent increase or decrease. It doesn't matter which one you're doing. The latest minus the previous divided by the previous. You're going to multiply it by 100 and add a percent sign. So, most improved baseball team. In 2014, the most improved baseball team was the Los Angeles Angels. In 2013, they won 78 games, and then in 2014, they won 98. So they improved, and they want to know what the percent of increase was. Okay, so using that formula, we would have done 98 is what they improved to. 78 is what they did before, divided by 78. This comes out to be 20 divided by 78. So we want to change that to a percentage. So we do in our calculator 20 divided by 78 times 100. So that would have been 25.6% increase. Okay, that's the percentage of increase, 25.6%. Now for this one, for McDonald's, they had a stock price of $103.53 in May. Then in October, it went down to 89.91. So the latest price is 89.91 minus what it was previously was 103 divided by what it was previously. So that's going to give you a negative number when you subtract it. So it's going to be, that means it was a decrease. So I got 89.91 minus 103.53 divided by 103. I put 3. I got to go back. 103.53. And I did something wrong. Times 100. That's not right. Okay, so I see what I did wrong in my calculator. I'm like, that's not the right answer. So that's why it's good to have this nice calculator. I can see I divided instead of subtracting. I hit the wrong button. So it was very easy to go back and see what I did wrong. So 89, what doesn't it like? Let's do it this way. 80, no, I don't know what it didn't like. 0.91 minus 103.53. That's better. Divided by 103.53. Whoops. 0.53. There we go. Times 100. So you can see it comes out to be a negative number, but I'm going to write it as a positive number. I'm going to write it's 13.2%, and it's the percent, it's a decrease, but it's not, don't put a negative number. I'm concerned if you put a negative number in that you're going to get it wrong on the quiz. Okay, so now we're at percent markup, and I think I'm going to stop right there. Otherwise, this is not going to fit on YouTube, and then I will come back for the second half.